You guys may have watched the first class setup video that I made. In that video, I go over the 2 most popular weapons to use, as well as score streaks and which score streaks to use to help you drop more nukes. But today I'm going to be going over guns that not a lot of people use, not a lot of people know about, and these guns are going to help you drop more nuke streaks of your own. Hey guys, what is going on? It is your boy J King, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys part 2 of the best class setups to drop nukes with. In the first video, I went over the AK-74U and also the XM4 as far as guns. I went over pretty much everything as far as attachments, perks, and pretty much everything to use on the class. I also went over score streaks, which I believe are the most important part to dropping nukes when it comes to class setups. So I'll leave a card up in the top right window. I'll also leave the video link down in the description if you guys missed that. But today I'm going to be going over lesser known guns that not a lot of people use, but you can definitely drop nukes with these guns. These are what I call sleeper guns. Not a lot of people know them. They're not really in the meta, but these are still guns that are really good. So I'm going to be going over class setups for those and also just some overall class setup tips as well. So you guys know the drill. For shoutouts this week, there are currently no shoutouts. If you want to shout out yourself, all you have to do is head over to my stream, jking_official on Twitch, get 1,000 channel points by next week's video, and then redeem the channel point reward for a shout out, and then you'll be in next week's video yourself. Your link will be down in the description below, and you'll also get a shout out on the actual video itself. Also, if this video has helped you at all, make sure to leave a like. Also, consider subscribing. We're getting close to that 100 subscriber milestone, which is absolutely insane. Also, leave a comment on which gun you think you're going to use the most out of this video, and maybe also let me know if you've even tried these guns. So without further ado, let's get into it. So hopping in with the first class setups, we're going to go with the MP5. I still think this is one of the best SMGs. So when this game first came out, this was pretty much the best gun to use. It was pretty much meta. They only have nerfed it once or maybe twice, but the nerfs haven't been drastic or anything. And I still do believe this is a really good gun if you want to use it. So going into the attachments on it, I am using a muzzle brake just to cut down on that vertical recoil and not give it a whole lot of horizontal recoil. You guys know from the past video, if you use the infantry compensator, you're going to be getting some horizontal recoil on it. And it doesn't really need that whole 12%, so we're just going to stick with the muzzle brake for 4%. I'm going to be using a task force barrel again. You guys know I love this barrel. I think it's really powerful and pretty much makes guns almost overpowered. Then from there, we're just going to use a speed grip on the foregrips. You could use this if you want to. That'll be a little bit better for recoil control, but also you're going to be losing 30% shooting movement speed, which to me is pretty drastic and pretty bad. So I stick with this. This is going to give me some more sprinting move speed just because I'm in that SMG roll, and also some horizontal recoil control. And then pretty much standard on every gun I use the airborne elastic wrap and the last stock, the Raider stock. This is just going to be for mobility and getting onto targets quicker, especially because we're an SMG. Then outside of that, pretty much normal class setup for me. So the second gun we're going to move into is going to be these KSP. I think this is a pretty underrated gun. This is, if you don't know what it is the burst SMG. It's a 3-round burst, and it could be really powerful. So bursts are pretty much balanced around if you hit your shots, you're going to be killing people a lot quicker. But if you miss one of those bursts or even part of that burst, the time to kill is going to shoot up drastically. But still, this gun is super powerful, especially if you're pretty accurate with it. And I don't see a lot of people going around and using it. I think this is super powerful. So let's get into the attachments. I'm going to be using just a regular muzzle brake to get rid of some of that vertical recoil. As you can see from the details section, it does have a decent bit of horizontal recoil. So I definitely don't want to use the infantry compensator and just add more to that. Horizontal recoil is already bad enough. Now this is because I am using the task force barrel. If you want to, you can always run either the rifled or the reinforced heavy. These are pretty much the two sort of secondary or optional barrels that you can run, but I definitely like the task force barrel on this gun. Even with the horizontal recoil control, I think the benefits outweigh the cons. So pretty much standard. Again, we're going to use the speed grip as well. Also this airborne elastic wrap, and then the Raider stock. That's pretty much just standard. And again, standard class setup, we are going to be using this perk greed, ninja, and ghost. I try to run perk greed as much as possible. unless the gun really needs those extra attachments with gunfighter. So the next class I want to get into, and this is probably one of my favorite guns in the game at the moment. I really haven't used this gun hardly at all since launch, but recently I've been getting diamond on my TAC rifles, and I've been using this gun to get it gold. And this is the M16. I think it might be one of the best guns in the game at the moment. This is the 3-round burst weapon. It is in the TAC rifle category, and it absolutely shreds. So going into the class setup, again, I am going to be using gunfighter. I do think that having these extra attachments on the M16 just helps it out a ton. It's going to help you out with accuracy. It's going to get rid of some of that recoil. We're also going to be using the task force barrel. So getting into it, I use the mill stop reflex. You can use whatever you want. We're going to use infantry compensator here. Again, you could see sort of the recoil control, or just the overall recoil on it, and there is like no horizontal recoil control. So even with specking for that 8%, or I think it might be 8. No, it's actually 10% on here, but still, it's only 68. That's extremely manageable. That's really good. And we're going to get rid of sort of that vertical recoil control as well. Task Force barrel, I really do like it, honestly, because almost sometimes the vertical recoil will shoot up. And say you shoot the enemy in the chest area, it's just going to shoot up right to their head, and you're going to get a headshot. And that's pretty much a guaranteed one burst with this gun, especially with the 14% damage added. So definitely Task Force barrel I would recommend. I just use regular steady aim laser. I am going to be using the field agent grip this time because on this TAC rifle, and this is one of the reasons for having that 68 horizontal recoil, is this insane 40% horizontal recoil control. And you can see that it's even less shooting move speed than usual. So this isn't a bad attachment to use on TAC rifles overall. So having that little bit of shooting move speed isn't going to be bad, and especially going to be insane compared to if we use the speed grip. We're only going to have 15%. So having not only this 10% vertical recoil, but also the 40% horizontal, pretty much is a must-have on this gun. Using a standard 45 round mag, I think having that little bit of extra ammo helps. And then the last speed tape, and then the stock as well, just for mobility purposes. Again, these are the 3 perks that I would run. If you're not running perk greed, I run flak jacket, scavenger, and ninja. These are all super important for going on long streaks. Obviously, if you want to run ghost, you can, but I think that you're going to be getting heard by enemies more moving around the map than you are going to be on the radar, even though UAVs are really plentiful in this game. So before I move on to the next class setups, I just wanted to say thank you for all the support on the channel recently. Videos have been doing absolutely great, and I'm trying to bring you guys some more content that you guys have been enjoying. So I do appreciate all the support. Any like, comment, subs, or even just views in general. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to leave a like if this video has helped you at all. Also, make sure to leave that comment, even if it's just to say hello. I'm going to be replying to each and every comment, so drop them down below, and let's get right back into it. So this next setup is actually probably one of my favorite SMGs at the moment, and not a lot of people like it, and I could see why. So this is a huge gun in Warzone. If you don't know, this is the MAC-10. This is one of the DLC weapons in Season 1. Of Black Ops Cold War, and basically it's one of those SMGs that has a lot of recoil, but it's going to have a super fast fire rate, and if you can be accurate with it, you're going to have a super low time to kill. I am going to be using gunfighter, obviously these 3 perks, and I do believe that gunfighter is needed on this gun, and you're going to see why. So moving into the attachments, you could run an optic if you want. I really don't care for optics on SMGs at all, so even if I'm running gunfighter, I'm just going to leave it blank. We are going to be using the infantry compensator here. As you could see from the detail section, we're not going to have a lot of horizontal recoil control, so that is a really good thing to have, infantry compensator on this. We're going to have a decent bit of vertical recoil control, but honestly, this is actually pretty low for this gun because of all the attachment that we have on it. So infantry compensator, and then we're going to move into the rifled, the 6.5 rifled barrel. I definitely do not recommend Task Force barrel on this, and this is why. It goes up to 434 for the vertical recoil, and that is with every single vertical recoil attachment on it. So basically we have maximum vertical recoil control, and if we use the Task Force barrel, it's going to go up to over 400. I don't like any gun over 400. I think that this 350 mark is pretty much the sweet spot. That's pretty much the maximum amount you want to have. If it does make a difference, I am on mouse and keyboard, so you might have a harder time controlling recoil on a controller, so that's just an FYI, but 350 is the mark that I try to shoot for, and if I could get it under that, that's great. So we are going to be using the the rifled barrel. You can use this barrel if you want to. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the aim walking speed going down. You could use this one as well, but that's just sort of more of the same. And I think the damage range itself is just enough for this gun. So yeah, just a standard steady aim laser. We are going to be using the speed grip as well, and that is because of this absolutely horrible shooting move speed that comes with the field agent grip. And basically, if we use this grip, we're only going to be getting 6% vertical recoil, which is useful. But at the same time, it's going to be mostly 20% horizontal recoil control. And as you can see, even without it, like, we're at 74. Even if we like don't use it, we're only at 84. So that's like manageable horizontal recoil control. So there's really no need for this field agent grip. We are going to be using the 43 round mag. This is definitely a must for this gun because of how fast it shoots. I would not go with fast mag, and I definitely don't recommend the 43 round speed mag just because of that 20% ADS time. That is pretty bad for an SMG. And you want to be having the best mobility possible. And again, standard with all guns, the Raider stock and the airborne elastic wrap. So yeah, that is one of my favorite pretty much guns on this game. You know, having that 350 vertical recoil isn't too bad. It's manageable, and the benefits of this gun are super good. It has decent range, and it has an extremely fast time to kill. So moving into the last setup of this video, we are going to be going with a sniper setup. Now, I am not a pro sniper at all, so take this setup with a grain of salt. But this is the class setup that I would use, particularly if I'm using Lawbreaker. Obviously, I would have attachments on this, but these are the perks that I would use if I am using Lawbreaker. If you guys remember Lawbreaker, you can equip any perk from any category. So you could equip 3 perks, and they all could be from the same category if you want. So I'm going to be using Flak Jacket. I think that's just a crutch perk, and I'm going to be using Ninja and Ghost as well. I think these are the 3 most important perks. I know Tac Mask is really important. Also, Scavenger is really important. You can also, if you want to have Scavenger, you could swap it out for Ghost. But then again, you are going to be overkilling, so you're going to have 2 guns worth of ammo. Also, you can run an assault pack if you want to, if you really are running low on ammo. So yeah, that's the setup right there for the majority of that class. And then we're going to go into the attachments. Definitely the Tiger Team barrel is probably the most important part of this setup. If you're using a sniper, use the Tiger Team barrel or whatever barrel equivalent there is. It's pretty much, look at the pros on it. I mean, it's insane. Reload quickness, damage, fire rate, bullet velocity, those are all super cut. The only bad thing about this barrel is normally the last barrel on each gun is going to take away an entire magazine. So say instead of spawning in with 3 magazines, you're going to spawn in with 2. On snipers, it's going to take away an actual bullet in the gun itself. So say if you spawn in with 6 bullets, using this barrel, you're only going to spawn in with 5. And we all know that snipers and how many bullets they have can make a huge difference. So we are going to be speccing for that a little bit later. But we are going to be using the Tiger Team Spotlight here. I was actually recommended this by a viewer on my stream, and I just sort of stuck with it. You can use a steady aim laser for hip fire accuracy if you want. You could also use maybe a stabilizer to increase idle sway control. But I don't really find that to be super helpful, especially if it's only the 18%. And then this is just going to destroy aim down sight time, which is not good. So I've been sticking with Tiger Team Spotlight. You can pretty much use whatever you want. This slot is sort of a wild card. You could put it on, you know, maybe you want a underbarrel or something like that. I don't know. Vertical and horizontal recoil control isn't super important on snipers. But then again, you could play around with it if you're not a huge fan of the Tiger Team Spotlight itself. So the 7-round mag is definitely a must. That basically means we're going to be spawning in with 6 rounds in our chamber, because if you remember, the Tiger Team Spotlight is going to take away 1, and then this is going to increase it by 1, so we're going to have 6. So that pretty much brings it back into standard, which is good enough. You could run the 9-round mag if you want, but I'm not a huge fan of the reload quickness. I'm honestly not a huge fan of the reload quickness at 28%, so bumping it up to 55 is just a little too much for me. But the aim down sight time is only 5%, so that's not a huge deal. You could try it out if you want. And then standard last 2 attachments on that, and then you can pretty much use whatever secondary you want. I would be using some sort of SMG because it would be for close range engagements, but you can use whatever setup you want. Just keep in mind, if you're going to be using something like the Mac 10, you're only going to have 5 attachment slots on here, so just be mindful of that. So yeah, guys, that is pretty much it for this video. Leave a like if it's helped you at all. Let me know what you guys want to see next down in the comment section below, and if you're seeing this, I do appreciate you. and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.
He's in 5S, and now it's time for the intro. I'm making all you digress. Catch you on the limbo, going all in when I bet that I make it look simple. You better know that I'm next.